Probably gonna make mine extremely fast. I'm actually here because met Lou the other night at the Mayor's Ball. Got on Lou's back about Ludlow and can we get some jobs for the poor people of Yonkers. You know, with this development, here's what I have to say. If anyone in this room has hung out or been on Ludlow lately for over an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, please put a hand up so I can see. Now, with this being said, does anyone here live in the GDC? I love GDC too. I love you guys. Just want to be clear. Does anyone live in the GDC? Well, let me tell you something. I live in the GDC. I rent at the GDC. 4,400, 4,600, two-bedroom apartment. Beautiful, beautiful development. But who do you think on Ludlow or in that area can afford that? I'm for the project. I wanted to be there. But seriously, for everyone in this town, let's make sure people of this town have jobs building this. That's all I ask. I don't know who has to get it done. I don't care about political interest, which party it is, who has to get together. But someone in here should think about the poor brown and white people of South Yonkers when you put up this development and who can actually afford. I own 4 juice bars and I make music for a living. It's a nice place, but you have to make money to be able to live there. And let's be real about it. Look around, think about who you know in Yonkers, and think about who can afford $4,000 to $4,700 a month. And this is not owning. This is not owning, this is renting. So let's be clear. Let's at least have people of this town have an opportunity to work there, because if they don't, then they will never have an opportunity to rent there. Never. And we all know this, and let's be real. So just at the end of the day, GDC, love y'all, love what y'all do. It's town of Yonkers, I don't care what your political party is in it. Care about the poor people, make sure they get the jobs. Think about it, $4,400 to $4,700 a month, 2-bedroom apartment, no ownership. Think about that. Just bring it home. I love GDC. I want to see it there. But we better make sure that the right people are able to move in that building, and it's people that was raised in South Yonkers or somewhere in Yonkers. Because other than that, we know what it is. People from Manhattan want to live by the train station. We're going to all get kicked out and moved, and there's going to be a bunch of Manhattan people in Yonkers that just want to get back and forth downtown fast. At least get the jobs, and at least the opportunity for some of the right people to at least enjoy this Ludlow spacing. I'm pretty sure once we get one, it'll be many more. Let's stand up for the city, y'all. That's all I ask. Love is love. Have a blessed night.
What's going on, viewers, social media world? Hope everyone is doing well. So I'm going to do a quick video right now, talk about this article that I was reading. You know, it says, it's from finance.yahoo.com. It says, job losses hit low-income households particularly hard, the Fed finds. The Federal Reserve says nearly 40% of people in households making under $40,000 a year lost their jobs in March, illustrating the damage of the pandemic crisis has inflicted on low-income families, COVID-19. The Fed on Thursday released new data showing the ripple effects of unprecedented scale of job loss that had more than 36 million Americans turning to unemployment insurance over the last 2 months. Okay. In a survey of household economics and decision making, the Fed reported that over 1/3 of the adults who reported job loss or reduction in hours expect difficulty in being able to pay their bills. Now we know this is just pretty much like common sense. Prior to the pandemic, 3 in 10 adults said they were unable to cover 3 months of expenses using their savings or borrowing if they lose their jobs, underscoring the stress that the massive layoffs place on American households. Fed Chairman Powell has emphasized the specific impact on the lower income Americans, previewing the data in a speech yesterday. The numbers show clearly that it's more recent hires and lower paid people who are bearing the brunt of this, although people are suffering all across the income spectrum. Powell said the data is particularly painful within the context of the longest economic recovery in U.S. history, which came to an abrupt end with the novel coronavirus. Prior to the pandemic, the U.S. unemployment rate touched 50-year lows at 3.5%. Ill prepared to get ill. The Fed survey is usually done in October each year, but central bank researchers conducted a smaller supplemental survey between April 6 and 9 this year to measure the impact of the pandemic. The additional survey shows that as of early April, 19% of adults reported losing a job, being furloughed, or having their hours reduced, a measure close to 22.8%. United U-6 unemployment rate reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, so I'll leave a link in the description of this article. It's just it just pretty much highlights what's going on as, with low-income households and poor people, who have lost their jobs, who have had their hours reduced, who have been furloughed, hoping that they could be rehired. In many cases, they're saying that, the jobs won't be there for them to, be rehired. So it's kind of crazy. There's a rapper who I think is in my top favorites. I have a personal list of like top 10, top 20. I've always enjoyed listening to a rapper by the name of Styles P. For years. We're talking like since the 90s. I just saw a video of Styles P speaking, I guess, to some elected officials. And he was really speaking up for the poor people, Black people, Hispanic, Latino people, and white people, poor people across the board who live in the southern section of Yonkers, where I believe, Styles P is from. And he was really speaking on behalf of of the government to create jobs in order to end affordable housing, for the people who live in that particular district of Yonkers. It's the Westchester section of New York. Some people consider it, the natives, no, let me not get into that. So Mr. Styles P was, he got on the podium. He didn't really, take too much of the time of the people, but his message was clear, create jobs and affordable housing, because he even made a statement where he was renting a 2-bedroom apartment in one of the new, I guess, high-rises that they built in that certain section of Yonkers. And he was renting a 2-bedroom apartment for $4,700 a month. And this is a man, and he also said it, he has, 4 businesses, 4 stores, juice bars, and he's a musician. He makes music for a living. And he was renting $4,700. Not everyone can do that. $4,700 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay? Not owning, rent. This was pure rent. And in certain parts of Yonkers, for those who don't know, it's marginalized. You have those parts that are, a little bit more affluent than others, of course. But, the section he's talking about was really, blighted for a very long period of time, and there's been a series of renovation done to the area. A great deal of renovation and revitalization has been done to a certain part of the area, but it's not for the locals to really move into to live. It seems like, people who have money will be able to move in because it's closer to New York City. Transportation's right there. So people from New York City come in, like specifically Manhattan, to come in, push the locals out, and, take over that part of, the Yonkers section. Move people out because they won't be able to afford this exorbitantly high amount of rent. It's crazy, man. So I salute Styles P for at least not only speaking and preaching, but he did something. Speaking about being productive, speaking about helping one another, speaking about being, a good neighbor, a good member of society or in the community. This is a man who's shown a great deal of growth in his career. You see it, so I salute and respect him for that, and just wanted to share that with my viewers, that this is efforts that an entertainer has been making, who's nowhere near, I would say, the heights of these mogul industry execs, who's actually made an attempt, put himself out there, like boots on the ground, to actually, advocate for poor people. So that has to get some type of respect. And what I find the whole thing is the fact that it's not even something that's glorified right now. You don't see it on social media real heavy. You don't see it, you know what's trending on social media right now? Instead of what I just told you, what's trending is the battle between Nelly and Ludacris. I mean, real talk. Like, heads are really discussing the battle between Nelly and Ludacris that took place, like, on social media. People are trending, Tekashi 6 not trending. Like, instead of like this, why couldn't this trend to another entertainer, a fellow entertainer in the same business, a fellow entertainer in the same business, music business, same genre and everything, who's speaking up for the rights of poor people, speaking up so that poor people can have affordable housing. I mean, $4,700, $4,400 to $4,700 a month is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. You think poor people could afford that? It's a struggle for people to pay $1,000 a month. Forget about $4,700 a month. Come on, man. Let's be for real. Let's be for a 2-bedroom to rent, not have a mortgage, but to rent. But folks want to know about who won the battle. Was it Nelly or Ludacris? Peace.